Welcome to Rugby League Down South, and a video special up for you this week as well. Not just able to listen, but you can see the interviews from this week's episode as well. I've got returning Broncos centre David Howell, hooker Tommy Lee as they're unbeaten in 2 Super League games now. Skolars general manager on their first professional finals day, making the Northern Rail Bowl final, and more from him. Hemel chief executive and co-founder Bob Brown on the latest part of his story, and Oxford coach Tony Benson talks of what he's made of the opposition so far. That, as well as the University of Gloucestershire All Golds assistant coach after their first professional win, and Richmond Warriors are our club profile this week. And of course your comments, which you can email anytime to rldownsouth@gmail.com. You can also comment via Twitter @Ian Ramsdale. So yes, this week it's a special video podcast for you. Not only can you listen to the programme, but you can also watch it as well. I've been filming all the interviews that I've done. I had to get a little bit creative when I spoke to the people at Gloucestershire and Oxford, with them, with me not being able to get there in person, but you'll be able to see that a little later on, as hopefully to give you a bit of an insight as to what happens behind the scenes here at Rugby League Down South. So if you're listening to the programme in Spreaker or on iTunes, there should be, hopefully, a little link to tell you where to find this programme on YouTube. I'm not entirely sure, to be fair, how it's going to work this week, so do bear with me, but hopefully in the programme description on iTunes and on Spreaker there'll be a link to YouTube. If there's not, just go to YouTube, search my name, Ian Ramsdale, it'll come up with my YouTube channel and you can find the video there. So hopefully you'll be able to see what happens, and maybe you'll see a little bit more than what you might expect. So the London Broncos still haven't won at the Twickenham Stoop this year, an 18-all draw with Hull FC this week in the mud in this harsh weather. One man who's been sat out recently, centre David Howell. I've been talking with him about his recovery and watching from the sidelines. First of all, you still got the cast on. Just give us an update. How is the arm? And when are we expecting to see you back, hopefully?
Arm's going well. Get the cast off on Thursday, hopefully, with all x-rays going well. And then probably 2 to 3 weeks after that.
And so how is it feeling? Does it feel any different? Does it feel okay inside the cast, or can you not tell?
Yeah, it feels fine inside the cast. There's a few things, just like doing slight lifting and stuff like that, you tend to feel, I think it's more the muscles working than anything because they haven't worked for so long, but besides that it feels fine.
How has the season been for you? Obviously a very frustrating start, not only to get injured at the first part, but then you've had to sit from the sidelines and watch what hasn't been the best of runs so far this year, but how has it been sort of from your point of view on the sidelines?
It's been frustrating for me because all I want to do is get out there and help the team, but I'll have to bide my time now and get the injury right. Obviously it wasn't the greatest start to the year for me, especially coming off contract and things like that. I want to get out there and prove that I'm worthwhile keeping or hanging around for a little while longer.
And how are you feeling now? I mean, you're obviously in a little bit of training now. You're sort of back out on the field, although I guess not doing too much contact or ball handling at the moment.
Yeah, I haven't missed too much training actually. It's one of those injuries where you can pretty much do everything and stay pretty fit. So I think it was probably the first 2 weeks where after the operation I couldn't do any running and things like that. So after that I've been pretty much doing leg weights every day and running every day sort of thing. So and then slowly get back into the upper body stuff once the cast's off.
You've obviously been in and around the squad. How have they been? Because it seems like things are now starting to come together.
Yeah, around the place it's a good atmosphere and everybody's gelling well and things like that. We're putting it in on the training paddock. It's just obviously now it's starting to come together, and that's what the football season's about, isn't it? You don't need to peak in round one, so hopefully we're putting it together and we'll peak at the right end.
And do you think the Broncos are a fair weather side? It's been a tough, hard slog to the start of the season. Are you a side that works better in those drier, quicker conditions?
Yeah, well, it's hard to say after coming off the last 2 wins, or win and a draw in very boggy conditions. So I know a lot of the blokes prefer the dry weather football where we can move the ball around. So hopefully when the sun comes out we can put that on show.
But like you say, though, the fact that the two good performances in the last couple of games have been in tricky conditions. I guess Tony was pleased with the work effort and the ethos of the side in those games. So if you can take that through to the fair weather, hopefully you'll be all right.
Yeah, definitely. If you can take the work ethic that the boys put in and showed out on the field, then I think we can beat any team. Obviously, the small, quick blokes suited in those conditions out there today, or the weekend, around the bigger boys. So hopefully we can prove it once the sun comes out.
And what about you this season? How big a season is it for you once you're back out on the field?
Yeah, I'd like to, once I'm back out there, obviously do the best I can, be consistent. I need to, as soon as I get my chance, just take it with both hands and get out there and put in a good show each week. Just got to be consistent, and then everything else will sort itself out from there. I don't need to worry about it too much. I just worry about getting back on the park and playing some good football.
What do you make of the lads that have been filling in your position? I guess while you've been injured, but Michael Channing's caught a few eyes in the early stages of this season. Yeah,
I don't think you wouldn't put it as filling in. They're blokes that deserve their spot and they're playing well, so that's the part of being a squad and a team. So if anybody gets their chance, you've got to take it, and he's been playing well and hopefully he keeps it up.
The big question over Easter is always, do you play too many games? How do you players feel, especially in such sort of cold and bad conditions for this Easter? It's not the nice weather that you might have hoped for. Is it tough playing those 2 games over 4 days?
Oh, definitely. It's very, very taxing on the body, and especially when you're picking up little niggling injuries and things like that. We probably have a bit more of a luxury this season with a bigger squad. So we might be able to do some rotations and things like that and give blokes a game off. And we'll just have to wait and see. I personally don't like it, and I don't think many people do. But you can see why they do it, and it definitely gets the crowds in up north when the weather's nice anyway.
And it's traditionally your derby as well against the Catalans. Does it feel like a derby? I know that over the years, and you've been here for a few years now, it's one of those sides. Well, there is that derby feel to it, isn't there? They are a side that you do enjoy beating.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit of a derby. Obviously, playing on the Thursday night doesn't get the greatest of crowds, but we always put on a decent performance on the Thursday night. So, and they're always good matches against Catalans. I know we've always put in a good show, and if we've lost, we've only lost by 1 or 2 points, and if we've won, we've only won by 1 or 2. So it's they're definitely tough contests, and I think we put in a good show each time.
And finally, what do you make of the crowds this year? Obviously, you've been sat in as part of them for most of the season so far. But I mean, the crowds are down a little bit this year. The side haven't won at home yet this year. Is there at all a bit of a pressure? Is there a lack of support? Is there anything like that, or is it just a matter of people need to get their own little bit right?
Yeah, I think if we worry about putting our performance in on the field and on game day, then the crowds will sort of handle themselves. The players can't read too much into that. If we're creating our own atmosphere amongst the team and in the sheds and things like that, and just go out there and put on a good show, then the crowds will turn up.
That's David Howell then, and if they don't lose against Catalans, they'll have only lost 1 game in March, won't they, the Broncos? And the game against Catalans as well moved to Esher Rugby Club, the pitch at the Twickenham Stoop, unfit to play, the weather taking its toll on that game. Harlequins no doubt as well, with an eye on their pitch with a few big games coming up as well. Now, a few of your thoughts to get through as well. I'm always delighted to hear your comments throughout the week. On the email, if you fancy getting in touch with your comments about the programme, about Rugby League Down South, whatever you like, rldownsouth@gmail.com. Tell me about your side, your game, your team that you play with, wherever you are across the south of England, rldownsouth@gmail.com. You can tweet at Ian Ramsdale. A tweet from Ed, in fact, saying it's the first game of the season against Sussex Merlins for the Medway Masters, I think, this Saturday. Also saying he was really proud of the Broncos' display against Hull. Gutsy. Some big chaps playing for Hull. We stood up well. Robertson was outstanding. Thank you, Ed, for your comments. And also, while we're talking about your feedback as well, I'd be delighted to hear what you think of the podcast too. particularly if you're a listener on iTunes. If you can, why not please just rate the podcast? They've got a simple 5-star rating, or you can leave a short review as well. Just a sentence would do. But any comments that you can put on the iTunes in particular will just help raise the profile of the podcast. So if you do like it, or even if you don't, I just go give it a rating. And if you can do a 1-line short review, great. But hopefully a clicking 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 stars would be very, very helpful for me. So thank you if you can do that in the next week as well. And also, I mentioned Twitter. Why not use the hashtag RLDS, Rugby League Down South, if tweeting about the programme. The London Skolars are through then to their first professional level final. They're through to the Northern Rail Bowl final. Their game against Rochdale the weekend was postponed because of the weather, but because of Oldham beating South Wales Scorpions, it means they go through to that final. They are, of course, through to the final 16 of the Northern Rail Cup as well, so provided they don't get to the final of the Cup competition, they will play at Halifax in that bowl final later in the year. I've been chatting to their general manager in Howard Kramer. You're through, although only provisionally at the moment. It's still to be absolutely confirmed, to your first professional finals day. A great achievement for the club and unbeaten so far this year.
No, absolutely, and it was achieved with everybody sitting at home on Sunday with our game called off and South Wales losing to Oldham. And yeah, everybody's feeling really great about that. We've already started selling tickets and we're arranging coaches to go up. We want to make it a big day for the club.
I was going to say, unbeaten this year as well. It's going well so far. We spoke to Terry Brown on the programme last week, and he said, it's the potential, isn't it, to be another sort of best ever year.
Yeah, I think this is Joe's third year as coach, and it's going to be a question of building on what he's carefully built up over the last 2 years and adding to that. It's a great start. It's an unbeaten start. It's set benchmark, if you like, really for the rest of the season now. So, yeah, it promises to be a really interesting year. But at the end of the day, the final is great. Promotion is everything.
I'm just here in the office and I've just seen a few of the junior club registration forms as well lying out on the desk. There seems to be plenty of them there.
There's a lot of activity, yeah. The community side, the junior side's been going absolutely fantastically well. We've got record numbers registered for the 12s, 14s, 16s and 18s. Minis are going really well. We're even running a mini festival here, minis festival should I say, Friday morning before the game with Hemel.
I guess as well, it shows that the progression that the club's making, and the fact that people often, they always see that professional side, don't they, the top side, and think that's how the club's going, that's how we'll judge it, but so much more goes on.
Absolutely, yeah, it's right. The pathway is everything here, and it's led from the top, from the head coach Joe, who has regular contact with a whole coaching network that we've got now. So we've got people like Paul Thorman, who's been here for a number of years, Matt Cuss, our community coach, but we've got a number of volunteer coaches as well. And it's monitored very carefully. There's a progression chart here, and we're looking to bring these lads through the age groups so that hopefully they can start training with us. Some of the younger lads are now doing with the first team squad.
You mentioned your game against Rochdale didn't go ahead at the weekend. You've had to rearrange that. It was looking like the first Easter in a while where you were only going to have to play one game, I think. Do you usually play one game in Championship?
Well, since I've been here, we started playing 2 games at Easter. This is our first league game on the weekend, and we were all rejoicing we only had one game, but we've rearranged the Rochdale game now, and it's on April Fool's Day. It's on Monday, so Joe's got to take a team up to play Rochdale. We've already qualified, and Rochdale are actually out of their group, so you could call it a meaningless match, a bit of dead rubber, but it has to be played. And with the the home game, the first home game of the Championship 1 season, as it is, against Hemel here, we saw pictures of the game against the Old Golds, where it was pretty much all browns, wasn't it? In terms of the pitch, it was quite muddy. How is the pitch now? The pitch is ready for more round 2 of all in mud wrestling, I'm afraid. It is not great. It is playable, there's no doubt about it. We've spoken to the RFL and match commissioners, and there's a lot of water on the pitch. It's just going to be a very muddy game. Hopefully after that the pitch will have a month to recover before we play at home again, but we're just going to have to get through this Friday. But it will be another muddy day. I know it's difficult. There's numerous teams looking for grounds around London in which to play. You've got a couple of pitches across the road as well as your New River pitch. I mean, do you ever consider sort of other options, backup options? Yeah, we've had to, because I think that this season is so important to us that we've looked at other options, and I've even had a meeting over at Alliance Park in Barnet Copthall with Saracens at the new stadium there to have a look at their facilities there. That might, in emergency circumstances, be an option for us to play there.
And what about the your festival as well, your junior festival that you've got here at the weekend? I've seen sort of various events and various things like this going on, but it does seem like that the guys that you have in North London, they're passionate about scholars. They know what scholars are. They come from the schools and that are taught by the scholars community coaches. You mentioned Paul and Matt, and it's that evolving stage, isn't it? Really.
No, really do. And we want these kids to come to the games afterwards, and their parents as well. And to be fair, Hemel have embraced us as well. They're coming down to play us, and their parents hopefully will be coming onto the game afterwards there. We want to get as many people as possible into rugby league. We're trying to increase the match day experience here. We recently had the very famous mascot race here, which Sammy the Stag won by a short antler, whatever it was that he won on. We've had real ale, we've got guest ales at every match now. We've got guest speakers coming to games, and we've had live entertainment after games, something we've never had before. We've had a live singer in the bar afterwards. So we're looking to get families in and give them a better match day experience than maybe we've done in the past.
And what about the Championship? What's it, one season and what lies ahead? Joe's doing a great job at the moment. Things are going in the right direction, and people are talking about you being up there at the top end of the division, sort of competing. I think North Wales have been the side that everyone wants to beat, and if everything, I don't know, goes to plan in a way, you end up playing them in the Northern Rail Bowl final.
We not only end up playing them in the Northern Rail Bowl final, they're here on Friday night lights, and it could be at a very delicate stage of the season where both teams are going. Hopefully, both teams will be going for promotion. And we play them away in a couple of weeks' time. It's our first away fixture, and I think not only us but everybody outside perceives us to being main challengers this season. Although I expect Oldham and Rochdale to be putting in decent performances, and what we've seen already with Gloucester winning at Gateshead, I don't think anybody will be taking anybody for granted.
And I guess this Rochdale game gives you that measure then, doesn't it? You've played these teams in the southern section of the Northern Rail Cup sort of group stages, but this game with Rochdale is going to be a measure of sort of where you'll go, albeit I know that with squad rotation it might not be quite your your Championship 1 team that goes and plays that game.
I think that's right what you say, but it will be, and I think not just for us but for Rochdale, slightly different looking teams that go to play on Monday. But speaking to Joe, he goes into every game putting out a team that he thinks can win it, and he's convinced that he'll send a team up there to win that game, and he won't want that unbeaten record to go lightly. Because the following week, as I say, we're at Whitehaven in the Cup and then North Wales away. There's some big fixtures coming up for the club.
Congratulations to Skolars then, which guarantees a southern representation at the Northern Rail Cup finals there, of course. And Brian Barwick, the chairman of the RFL now, not the FA, as I keep mentioning on Twitter, it's the RFL definitely, will be at the game with Hemel on Friday at the New River as well, so taking in some rugby league in North London as well. And I forgot to mention last week that the second race for the horse London Scholar race last week as well. He ran at Kempton again over a distance a bit longer than the first race. Came fourth, so a bit of winning money for the owner Harold Nass, and more as well as and when he races. But in an aside as well, his half sister called Iron Butterfly broke her maiden when she won her first race at Fontwell Park over 2 miles and 2.5 furlong hurdle. So good luck to her too. Best of luck as well. We'll keep you updated with what London Scholar, the racehorse, does over the next few weeks and months. Now to their Championship 1 opposition for this year, Hemel, Gloucestershire and Oxford. We'll hear from all of them on the programme. First, the Hemel Stags, their Northern Rail Cup group game, the final game, the cross-conference one with North Wales Crusaders was postponed because of a rather snowy pitch at Pennine Way. They've won 2 and lost 1 then of the season so far. Hemel's chief executive Bob Brown, after setting up the club in 1981, has seen them from inception through to now playing in that professional ranks.
Well, it's taken 20 years to get here. We set out in 1990 when we joined the Rugby League Alliance, and we've arrived here, and doesn't feel any difference to 20 years ago, and it's just probably a little bit of an anticlimax due to the horrific weather that's accompanied our launch of the season here, but it just feels like life's just going on as normal at Hemel. We're a busy club, 365 days a year, and I think Championship 1 has just slipped in amongst the club, and it's just something we're doing.
So it doesn't feel any different than last year?
Not really. We've got some local pressures of getting the ground ready and all those sorts of things, but it really doesn't feel too much different. There are pressures of getting people to games which we didn't have previously, and they may build up as the season goes on. But because we're a full-time rugby league club and we're working here all the time on a whole range of different things, it's just another project for us, really.
You mentioned the weather as well. You had to call the game off at the weekend here at Pennine Way. Still quite a lot of snow around. It's been quite cold the last few days, and your pitch just wasn't quite fit to play.
Very aptly named, Pennine Way is. We shouldn't really have played against Scorpions. The match commissioners wanted to call the game off at 1:30, but both clubs weren't prepared to do that, and that did a lot of damage to the pitch. There was no way we could have played last Sunday against Crusaders. The pitch was covered in snow and couldn't get any markings on it, and we wouldn't be able to play this weekend if we were playing. And we've got issues of training. The pitch is used as a training pitch as well, and so the team's having trouble training. I think they've only had 2 Saturday morning training sessions in the last 2 weeks, so that's having big issue. That's probably the biggest pressure we've got on us at the moment, because the team's going okay really, but they just need to keep training.
So what's going to happen with that North Wales game?
It's been postponed to Tuesday the 23rd of April. St George's Day, so there's a bit of, we'll be promoting that to take on the Welsh on St George's Day here. So that's
and hopefully better weather by then as well.
I'm sure the daffodils will all be out, and there'll be terrific weather on that Tuesday night.
How happy have you been with the way that the side have played this year? You know, you're a rugby league fan. You're now playing in the semi-professional ranks. Are you happy with the performances you've seen?
There were 2 things we didn't really know about this season. We didn't know how the team would go, because effectively a brand new team and against different type of opposition, and we didn't know how many people would turn up to watch the games. Now, the weather has affected how many people would turn up, but from the team's point of view, I think we're pretty pleased with it. It was good to get a win down at Gloucestershire. We went okay at Skolars. We weren't far off the pace there, and we were leading by 8 points against Scorpions, close to the end of the game, and we shouldn't have lost that game, but that's part of the learning process for our players to learn how to shut down a game. So the 3 games we've played have been pretty good from our perspective, and I think we're just quietly confident. We've set a goal of making the playoffs, which was top 6 out of 9 teams, which is not an over-ambitious goal, and I think we're sort of realistic in sticking with that goal. I think we can get there.
I mean, the real business starts as well now, doesn't it? With Championship 1, this is the real season. As much as the Northern Red Cup is a great competition, it often is used as a way of getting into the season. With the weather as well, that hasn't helped. But this is the real nitty gritty now, and this is where your year really starts.
Absolutely, we set out the Northern Rail Cup to be a pre-season competition. I think we've only got 3 guys from our grand final winning team last year playing regularly in the team, so players got to get to know each other. So pre-season starts for serious on Good Friday down at Skolars, and it's the Championship 1. That's where the rewards are in the playoffs and at the end of the season, and that's what we're all been looking forward to. And it's a bit of the phony war to date for all the clubs.
And one of the big changes that you see outside here at Pennine, where you've got your stand in now for the spectators, but you've been looking for a roof, and now you're going to be getting one, aren't you, in the next couple of weeks?
That's right. Well, the foundations have been laid for the roof, and the contractors come on site on Tuesday to put the roof on. It's about 7 to 10 days to put the roof up, and it will be up and operating for the Gateshead game, which is our next home game. And I'm sure that will be a sign of a long, hot summer.
Keep everyone in the shade this time.
That's right. Stop them getting sunburnt.
And this is it was a stipulation, isn't it? You have to have a roof on your stand. You have to cater for fans and have to have a roof. Is that right?
We weren't actually sure. We had to have 200 seats was the specification. It didn't say they had to be covered. And given it was summer rugby, a bit like cricket, you don't necessarily have covered stands at cricket. But from obvious practical reasons, you need to have it covered. So we've got 400 seats here, and they will be covered. And as we discovered when we played Scorpions, the brave 179 people that turned up and got absolutely drenched there, they were real heroes. They were.
You said as well, the weather kind of took the tint off that first game. From your point of view, like you say, you've been here right from the start. You've seen it all the way through, and this was one of the places you wanted to get to. Did you get home that night and think, we'd done it, we made it, or anything like that? Was there any sort of pride in bringing this club to where it's come to?
I don't think that, because it's too. You have to wake up the next day to a lot more hard work and all the rest of it, but. I think we knew 7 days before the game it was going to be a disaster, because the weather forecast was pretty accurate, and we knew it was going to be a disaster for our opening game. We'd put on a lot of work on marketing, spent a lot of money on press advertising and all this and promotional work, and it was all totally wasted, and that was the biggest disappointment. But as I said earlier, we've been working towards this goal for 20 years since we joined the Alliance in 1990, and when it arrived, it didn't seem all that special. It was it just came. It's probably like courting a girlfriend for 20 years. When you eventually marry her, it's it's probably not too exciting, and but we're here now, and I think everybody in the club, players, off-field people, are all working towards making it a success, and we're here for the long run. We've been here for 32 years, and we're going to be here for a lot more years, and at Pennine Way probably.
I was going to say, on that future, you mentioned Pennine Way. I know there's the is it the city stadium or the town stadium that's coming?
The local authority has got some advanced plans for a town stadium, and 6,000 capacity initially. And they want us to be one of the two tenants in the stadium, with the local football club playing in there. That's a live project, and creates lots of issues. It's probably the biggest challenge facing the club, I believe, because at the moment Pennine Way has got certain defects, but it's got lots of attractions to it. We control our costs. We get all the revenue from the ground. Once we move into a town stadium, you lose control of your costs, and there's a big question mark about who gets the revenue. So it might be a nice brand spanking new stadium, and which everybody would like to be in, but it may not be the best option for us from a financial point of view. So how we handle that particular project, because we do know the local authority wants us in that stadium, and the fact that the local authority via one of their schemes of Decorum Look No Further is actually sponsoring the club for the next couple of years says that they want us to be successful, so they're putting their money into the team to try and make it successful. But if we go in that stadium, I don't think we ought to be playing Championship 1 in that stadium. We certainly need to be playing Championship, so we need to do a bit of work on the field to have a team to justify playing in that sort of ground.
Now on to the University of Gloucestershire All Gold, who've won their first professional game. They won 18-16 at Gateshead Thunder, and I've been having a quick chat over Skype with their assistant coach, James Greene. Well, James, thanks for talking to us, first of all, especially over Skype as well. What a weekend it must have been, the fact that you're getting your first win in the professional era.
It was absolutely brilliant, to be honest, especially go to somewhere as far away as Gateshead, to get all those miles under our belt and then come away with the win. The boys were really happy with themselves, even though they know themselves that they didn't put in the best performance. But to come away with the win was truly great.
Has it gone to plan, these opening parts of the season? Because you had the Northern Rail Cup. You're a new team. What you've seen from your side, has it been what you've expected?
Just about, to be honest, yeah. I mean, we always knew it was going to be very difficult transferring from the student era up into Championship 1. We knew we definitely had to set up our game from what we did in our student season, and then bring it obviously into the Championship 1. We always knew we had to step up. We always expected it to be very hard. I think a few of the boys did have a good shock to the system, which I think is always good, throwing them into the deep end. And luckily, a few of the boys have started stepping up to it, and they've grown each week and certainly finding the feet, which showed up in the second half, certainly at Gateshead.
And it was the coach's son, wasn't it, Tyler Heppy, scoring the winner?
He didn't get the winner. No, he got the second, but it certainly was an outstanding try, and it's certainly one to look back on and be proud of, definitely.
And what about, obviously your season, it really gets underway now with Championship 1. Where you're hoping to sort of be around by, come the end of the year? People are talking about, a mini division of the new teams and stuff, but I'm sure with your victory from the weekend and a couple of other results recently, it looks like it could be a competitive Championship 1 this year.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're aiming for, really. We're taking it week by week at the minute, really. We're just looking to try and string some good performances together. I think if we string good performances together, the league will look after itself. I mean, by no chance am I saying we're going to finish top and go into the playoffs, but I think if we do perform well each week and keep building on it with every week, I think we'll do well in the league. But obviously the competition is going up and down, and we need to make sure that we keep all our fittest players on the pitch, and obviously making sure to keep in touch with our medical side and the conditioning side to make sure we've got all of them fit week in, week out.
Tell me how your you ended up being at the All Golds, because you were doing your studies elsewhere, weren't you? And then you moved down to Gloucestershire.
Yes, I started my studies up at Hull College. I did my foundation degree there with the plan of only ever doing 2 years there. So I completed my 2 years, and then my third year, I simply had to apply to various universities to top it up to get my Bachelor of Science. And just by chance, Gloucester was one of them. So to be honest, I actually moved down here not knowing anything about the Rugby League, and I just bumped into our current CEO, Rob Webber, and obviously got chatting to him, and obviously he heard about my background and all of a sudden jumped on board. So it was great to be a part of it, because I almost slipped through the net.
And how's the game been received so far down there? You've obviously had a couple of home games, so been nice crowds.
Oh, it's brilliant. I mean, our first week against Hemel, we had very nearly 500 people down watching. So it's certainly been received very well, because obviously being in the southwest, the heartland of rugby union, as soon as you mentioned utter the words rugby league, it's like blasphemy. But a lot of people are warming to it, and I think a lot of it's coming down to the community work that we're doing, getting into the schools, obviously getting younger kids playing it, obviously their parents are watching, obviously realising the coaches that they're watching are the players, and they're talking a lot of sense, because obviously they are very good players that we are bringing into the coaching era. And I think that's helped massively with our sort of marketing and publicity, was getting into the schools and simple word of mouth. And I think it's certainly paid its way.
And has the season gone to plan so far this year for you? Are you where you wanted to be in terms of the coaching side?
That's it. Can you just tell me? It's just jumping a bit. Yeah, the season has gone to plan so far. Obviously, there has been a few bumps that we weren't expecting, but I think we are smoothing them out. Obviously, there are a few things that we've had to address, with it being obviously the very first season of a new club. But I think it's certainly it's getting up there into top gear now, and people are sort of gelling together very well, both on and off the field. And it's a very tight ship, and we are running it very well by the people ahead of us, such as Lionel and obviously Rob and Brad as well. So it's certainly going how we expect it now, definitely.
And that's where we lost James Greene, the assistant coach of the University of Gloucestershire All Golds team. Congratulations on their first win of their professional era, that 18-16 win over Gateshead Thunder. Now, watching all this, of course, are Oxford RL. They sat out the Northern Rail Cup group stages, of course, and the entire competition, to be fair, to concentrate their efforts on being ready for the Championship 1 season. So how does head coach Tony Benson feel ahead of their opening fixture against the All Golds? It's been a bit of a long, close season for them, hasn't it?
It has been. We tried to make it interesting and vary it a lot, because we knew we had a long one on our hands, and probably if I had more experienced players, we could have done a little shorter than what we did, but we had to bring players from being amateurs to, physically being capable of playing professional games, which are obviously faster and probably a bit more physical, and get their skills right up in time. So we needed to spend plenty of time on it, and I guess that's the frustration for people. They're like caged animals at the moment. They've never had a chance to use what they've learned or the new physical abilities they've got.
And I guess for you as well, you spent your time, you've been able to see some other games, you've had a couple of hit-outs with your side as well. Where do you think your Oxford side are gonna fit into the Championship 1 season?
Ian, realistically, I have no idea, and that's why I'm looking so forward to this game. I just don't know what the standard's like. I don't know where we fit in that. Even if I had seen other games, I don't know where we are near them. But what I do know is, the players have applied themselves so well right over pre-season. They've come on leaps and bounds, and they deserve to be doing well. So I would expect that should continue. We'll be learning all the way through, and we'll be improving all the way through, and we'll just end up where we end up. There's not much more we can do. If there was, I'd be concerned.
I think you had a couple of games, didn't you, against a couple of student sides, and one against the Halifax sort of reserve side, which include you said a couple of first teamers there. You must have been impressed with what your side did against them.
Yeah, I was impressed. We nailed them, which was probably the most important thing, because a lot of our pre-season's been about defence and learning structures, and for a lot of them, it's the first time they've had a real structured defence to follow. And they did really well. They're under a lot of pressure. The teams are on our line for a big part of the game, and we kept them out and effectively slowed them up, so they didn't really get a roll on us at any stage. I was pretty impressed with that. And then it was really heavy conditions, as it has been, around the place for the last month or so. But our attack still came through to get us 20 points, and some pretty good tries from that too. And as the game developed, our attack got better and better. So maybe it says to me, if we'd had a couple more games, it would have been a lot better now. But as I said, I'm happy with where we are anyway, and we'll push on from it.
And what about the atmosphere at Oxford as well? From the people I talked to, there was just a huge amount of excitement, really. And I hope you don't mind, but in my article for 4020 magazine, having spoken to you, I sort of described you as like a can of Coke that somebody had shook up. It was sort of really packed full of excitement. Just can't wait to sort of pull the ring pull and get the season going. It seems like you've got this pent-up excitement and energy, and I could just feel the fact that you want this season. You can't wait for it to get going.
You did right, and I think it's a lot of people in the area. We've got a lot of people behind us, and we've had a lot of support from local rugby clubs, the university, the armed forces, everybody getting behind us. We've had a number of emails from people asking questions about how they can get involved and when it starts, and the enthusiasm around the place is phenomenal, and it's all fresh and new, so everybody's excited and full of energy towards it too, which is a really nice feeling at the moment. So you did right. It is like that, and I'm absolutely sure we won't fail to impress when it comes around, at the right time.
Is that feeling that you've conveyed to me, and through talking to Tony Colquitt as well, that excitement, is that felt around the city? Do you get an element of that? Are there people that are looking forward to seeing rugby league in the area, or is the word sort of still to get out there, and once you've started playing games, you're maybe going to see that snowball?
Well, I think that has built not just on the field. I think off the field we've been outstanding. I'm really impressed with the people involved there, and the word's getting out there. I know that there's been material spread right around Oxford, and we're getting response to that already. I think we've got some season ticket holders already in place, and we've got somebody wanting to organise buses to their away games already, and he's got a number of people already bought tickets on those. So it's certainly, the interest there, it's building, and you can never get to everybody, but I'm sure over time we'll make a noise, and that's even bigger than what it is now once we actually get playing. And I think we should be pretty happy with the response we get.
And if Gloucestershire Old Goals needed sort of any other incentive, an away victory, their first victory of their professional era, winning away at Gateshead, and it really sets up this first game of your season really well. But I guess you're looking forward to that first home game at Iffley Road.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Well, first of all, I must say that was a pretty fine effort by them. They played an established team away and come away with the points, so it's pretty special for them. a good way to win, to get their first points in the professional game. So, that sets them up against us, and that's our challenge, I suppose. But yeah, Iffley Road's certainly important to us. I'm a bit scared to look any further ahead than Friday, but that's something that we're all looking forward to, is getting to Iffley Road and having a game. A lot of the players have not even been there yet. But the ones that have told them what it's all about, and I've been there and I love the place, so we can't wait to get on Iffley Road. It's so exciting, and if we can get a decent crowd there behind us, I'm sure we'll all have fun, and that's what it's all about. The rugby union, is pretty well finishing up in April for most of the clubs, and people are looking for rugby, and there's a good alternative for them to get down to Iffley Road and have some fun.
And just finally, it's just worth mentioning that the partnerships that you've got again, I know it's a big part of the development of Oxford, but you've got various people linked in with the universities around there as well, and it does seem like that's really working, and that's again something that's kind of unique to you. I know that the All Golds have got something similar, but it's something that you can sort of have and sort of say it's special to Oxford, and that's the way that you're trying to develop and sort of put your roots down into the city.
Yeah, a couple of things. We couldn't survive without it. It's so important, but it's given us a leading edge. We've got resources to us, and I've never had it in any other club I've been before. Provided not just by the university. They're supplying video analysts for us. The boys are very experienced on the IT side, providing me with analysis of my players as individuals and as a team. We've got nutritionalists, we've got sports scientists to get the boys to the best possible physical condition they can. We've got access to sports psychs if we need them. The university is fantastic, even venues occasionally when we need help, for testing and things like that. They've been right there for us. The RAF, people have come from the RAF to help out, with our kit man's come from the RAF. One of our medical assistants is from the RAF. We've got a player from there as well, so it's everybody's sort of stepped up. But the local rugby clubs have been phenomenal too, especially Oxford Quins. They've made us really feel at home at their ground for training and really looked after us in that sense. Helped yourself to our equipment, things like that. I've never experienced it like that before, and we've had offers of using other rugby clubs' grounds for training and that. So, we've been embraced, and we certainly appreciate it, and it makes it that much more special for everybody, I think, because it is a true Oxfordshire community club, really. And it's something for people to get behind.
And now, of course, to this week's club profile. Each week we can catch up with one of the community clubs across England in the south. So get in touch if you fancy featuring on the programme. We've had many of you be in touch already. And we're slowly ploughing our way through the teams. So if you're a club in the south and you want to be on, give us a shout. rldownsouth@gmail.com, the best way to get in touch. This week then, the Richmond Warriors. And I've been chatting with their under-16s coach, Clinton Skippy Thomas. Let me start with a bit of a weird question, but how come you're called Skippy?
It's a bit of a mock. I arrived in the country, and I actually lived in Aussie for about a year, so I think I picked up a bit of the twang. Come over here, and everyone thought it'd be funny to call the Kiwi boy Skippy, and it sort of just stuck.
And so you're known as Skippy. I mean, we've been texting, and it's your full-on name. It's how you refer to yourself as well.
Pardon?
I mean, it's how you refer to yourself as well.
Yeah. Around the Richmond borough, I'm known as Skippy when I go in the primary schools from teaching. The tournaments are known as Skippy. In the rugby league area, I'm known as Skippy. The only people that don't know me as Skippy is my friends.
Tell me about the Richmond Warriors then. They've been going for a few years now. You're I say relatively new. You've been there a couple of years now, but I mean, just tell us a bit more about the Richmond Warriors as a club.
Richmond Warriors is a club was originally the Whitman Warriors, but decided to broaden the area to Richmond Warriors, and got a few teams running. We run a few little mini teams, and we run a few age group teams for the secondary schools. So this year we've got the under-16s and the under-13s, but after the under-16s, they sort of go off to college, and we don't really see them again. But hopefully we can feed them into another club close by that will take them on for, say, under-19s, maybe send them off to Staines or someone close by.
And so what sort of age group is the club flourishing? You know, when people talk about the game growing, you know, where's the Richmond Warriors concentrated in terms of like age group?
This year, we're doing all right this year, to be honest with you. Our under-13s, I've obviously only played one game, but they've won their game and they've got quite a strong squad. My under-16 team, which were originally all under-15s from last year, did the hard yards last year, played upper grade, and this year won the Nines tournament, one against Croydon away and one against Staines away, so we're unbeaten. And this year we're trying to also develop the minis, which we've got Jimmy Giblin in to start coaching them. So we've got 4 teams, but we're going to be trying to do quality, not over quantity.
And so what's the aim this year? I mean, you know, in terms of a club, is it just to sort of continue growing? Have you got sort of any divisions that you've got your eye on the title?
I wouldn't say that I go in there to try and win titles personally. And as a club, our aim is just to develop the kids so they can go down the pathways, and hopefully from developing their performance, then the success comes in the games. But from talking around the club and the coaches that I talk to, the main aim we have is just to develop the performance of the players and not necessarily the winning outcome. But, you know, what kids are like, they like to win. And I have asked my under-16s what they would like to do this year, and their aim this year is to actually take out the whole tournament, the whole league.
And what about as well, you know, in terms of, you know, the club itself, the Richmond Warriors being sort of in that southwest London area, with the Broncos being there, is it a help, the Broncos being there? I mean, you know, the people that come along to the club, have they come because of the Broncos or for other reasons?
Most of the kids that I know that have ended up coming out to Richmond Warriors have actually come out following their friends, or have actually come out due to teacher influences around the school area. So I personally don't think the influence of London Broncos has had much influence on our teams.
So is that maybe where the concentration should be? I know that there's been changes this year with the, you know, the community coaching setup and stuff like that. But is the game really going to grow and get players into your club if there are more people taking it to the schools and the community aspect rather than the influence of Broncos? Do you think?
Do I think there'll be more influx if there's more Broncos like coaches around?
In terms of, is that the way to get people into the game, the community coaches, rather than people say that, you know, the Broncos is the way that will encourage people to get into the game? Is it really that the coaches that are doing the recruitment as such?
Yeah, I honestly think that to get more players into the game, it comes from getting a lot more coaches out there into the schools and getting the word around. When you go into the schools, especially the primary schools, these kids don't know what rugby league is, and half these kids don't even know who London Broncos are. It's quite new to them. And even at the secondary school age, a lot of kids don't know what rugby league is. My year 7s at Twickenham Academy are pretty much half rugby union players and kids that have learned the game from the Bronco boys that are coming to the school.
And so what about the future for the Richmond Warriors then? It sounds like, you know, like most clubs, sort of similar to you, growing in numbers, you know, hoping to, you know, be more successful in the future. And I guess, you know, you mentioned before that's the aim, isn't it? Just to grow the game.
Yeah, I think Richmond Warriors is on the right track at the moment. We've got a good base of coaches down there. We've got a good little committee going on, and the people that are in the committee are in it because they love the game. And if you look at the coaches that are actually coaching the teams, it's not many of us actually have kids in the actual sport for ourselves. I think we've only got one parent two parents that are actually coaching that have their kids in Richmond Warriors. So the people that are helping out have the love for the game. I think that's creating a good environment for the kids. The only issue though is what happens when we sort of leave. Will it continue? But I think there's some strong bases there. We've got large numbers in each age group coming through, and it's looking very successful.
Okay, and just before we go, back to the London Broncos, let's have another look at one of these videos. Don't forget, it's a video podcast this week as well, so if you haven't been watching up to this point, then do check it out. It's on YouTube. All you've got to do, if you look in iTunes or in Spreaker, however you're listening to this particular podcast audio, there'll be a link to the YouTube video where you can see the interviews as they're done as well. Like I say, some of them got a little bit creative during the programme, but hopefully it's giving you a bit more of an insight as to what goes on at Rugby League Down South during the week. But here is Tommy Lee of London Broncos.
Tommy, a couple of good recent performances really from London Broncos. Has it been an encouraging for the side?
Yeah, really good. I think we're working really hard for each other and working really hard for each other, and that's the type of team we have to be.
Who was that?
Liam Colburn.
Trying to put you off?
Yeah, trying to put me off. It worked as well. Yeah, we've been working really hard for each other, and I think that's the type of team we've got to be. We've got to, we've all got to play well as a team and grind results out, and when we do that, we'll probably get most of the results.
Your coach was saying that he was really encouraged by the sort of the atmosphere around the team and the ethos and that work ethic that you all put in. Is that something that you've been working up towards?
Yeah, definitely. That's been our goal from the start of the season. We need to be a good team. We're not individuals, and when we do, as I say, when we do work hard, we've had the results, and it was a bit disappointing to get the draw at the weekend because I thought we was a better team for a good 70 minutes of the game. Did
it feel like a defeat because of that sort of last minute draw?
Yeah, it did kind of, yeah, but we've took some good positives out of the game, and it's good that we've got a real good short turnaround to put everything right on Thursday.
And what sort of prospect do the Catalans pose?
Yeah, they're a big team here, so it's going to be a tough challenge, but as I say, we've got a bit of momentum going after the last few weeks, and we've trained well today, and we're looking forward to a big performance.
And what about as well, I guess playing 2 games over the Easter weekend is always going to be difficult, but how do you see it?
We've got a really good squad, so I don't think it really affects us, and after a couple of days you feel okay anyway, so hopefully we'll play well, and as I say, we'll keep working really hard for each other, and we'll get a few good results.
Talking of the French, it was a Frenchman that sort of you've come in because Julian Rinaldi's moved on, but I mean, how have you found sort of fitting in your hooking position this year?
I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying rugby at the minute, and it's even better when the team plays really well, and it's good to be a part of a winning team. And I'm really enjoying London life, and as I say, I'm enjoying my rugby. I'm playing long minutes, so can't complain.
You like it down here then?
Yeah, it's good. I'm looking forward to the sun to come out. Don't get me wrong, but I'm really enjoying it.
I ask most people when they've been down here for a couple of months, have you managed to get out? Do you go into town? Do you go and see the sights or anything, or have you pretty much been out here training?
For the first 2 or 3 months, we did a lot of training. Didn't really go out and do much. And I say I'm really waiting for the weather for to go out and do any sightseeing. But I've been into London a few times, and I'm used to the trains and the tubes and stuff now. So it's all different, but I'm enjoying it.
You're like a local now.
Not quite.
And what about the sites? Is there anywhere you want to go? You want to go up the Shard? Do you want to go on the Wheel?
Yeah, I think I want to go on the London Eye. Because I went to London when I was younger and did a bit, but London Eye looks pretty cool, so I'm going to go on that, I think.
And what about the rest of the season then? It just now that over the first couple of weeks, the side have been bedding in, things are now starting to happen. Fingers crossed you can push on from here.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, I feel as though we've turned a little corner. I don't know whether we lacked a little bit of belief in the first few games of the season. Obviously, we didn't start the way we wanted to. But yeah, I think we've turned a bit of a corner, and hopefully we can get into that top 8 and just be a consistent team that we know we can be. As I say, we've got a really good squad, so we just keep working hard for each other, and I'm sure we'll climb up the leaderboard.
And that's it then for this week's special Rugby League Down South, the video edition. Of course, by all means, anytime, get in touch. rldownsouth@gmail.com. You can tweet at Ian Ramsdale. Worth mentioning, there's no programme next week, so I'm back in 2 weeks' time. Thanks for listening, or for watching, or both.